Hi guys. Welcome to week 6. It is guys, we have 4 weeks left of school. I hope everybody's doing well. So I just wanted to kind of go through what you have to do for this hyperdoc. So this week we're going to be studying so we've been really just talking about adaptations and natural selection as a way of explaining how evolution works. Remember that evolution is just the fact that species change. Okay, it's changed genetically, and of course, our genetics affect our physical traits. But now, what I need you guys to understand is that it's not the only way. Natural selection is not the only way. So we're going to learn about other mechanisms that cause evolution. Okay, that's going to be pretty short. And then you have origin of life, and then finally, human evolution or primate evolution. This video here that you see on my screen is optional. You don't have to watch it, although it is interesting because they go through each a lot of information, a lot of evidence on human evolution. So if you're interested in that, you can watch it. And here's a little uh, very very ancient family tree here. Okay. Um, so let's get started. So we'll leave human evolution for the end. It's always a hot topic. All right. So, what I want you guys to do here, this is just a lot of this stuff is it's a lot of you need to have some background information. So, for the first part, we're going to be talking about is other mechanisms that cause change. So, if you keep in mind that evolution is changes in the gene pool over time, and what that means is we have all of these traits in our human gene pool, okay, or in a beetle gene pool. And so basically, anytime the frequency changes, that means that evolution has occurred. That's how we know that evolution has occurred. All right. So there are four other main ways that evolution can occur aside from natural selection. So we know natural selection. We've already discussed it. Now we're going to be talking about some other ways. The first one, which is my favorite, is basically dumb luck. Okay, so if you look over here, we had our beetle population here, and so we have green and blue. I mean, sorry, green and blue, green and brown beetles, and by accident, this guy's maybe late to work, and he steps on a whole bunch of green beetles by accident. It was by chance. Okay, so obviously now we have a greater proportion of brown beetles than green beetles. Was it because the brown beetle was better adapted to its environment? No, it was just by luck. Okay. So this is called genetic drift. Now, usually, if this was a huge population of beetles, it probably wouldn't affect their the ratio of green to brown beetles that much. But so we say that genetic drift usually affects smaller populations more. Okay, so that's genetic drift. The second one is non-random mating, which basically means you're not mating randomly. Okay, so some species do mate randomly, but most species do not mate randomly. And what that means is that um, not every single individual in a population is going to have the same opportunity to mate. And why are we talking about mating? Well, mating, if you mate, you pass on your genes, and so therefore those genes live on. If you don't mate, you don't pass on your genes, and those genes die with you. So non-random mating causes really crazy things like sexual selection. And watch this little video, the birds of paradise is short. Please watch it so you'll understand what I mean by how sexual selection. So what we find is that in birds especially, you see these crazy and elaborate dances and shows, and they do a whole little show, and of course the feathers, and what's interesting is that female birds are actually very dull. They have very dull appearances, whereas the male birds have these extravagant feathers. Think of a peacock, for example. So those are the males that are extravagantly dressed. Now, how is that an advantage? Normally you want to camouflage, not stand out. But because females are very choosy, okay, females are choosy, And so the males will have these extravagant feathers and or have different rituals, dancing rituals, to basically show off to the female, and the female will pick the best traits. Okay, so that will cause evolution to occur because we don't mate randomly, and because women are very choosy with their mates, or females, I should say, not women. Sorry, it's late. All right, mutations. A mutation is something random, so just like a random change in the DNA. So it could happen um, just randomly, or sometimes it is passed on. Okay, so if so, let's say there was just green beetles, and randomly there was a brown beetle that just mutated. Okay, so remember that when you mutate genes, it affects the outcome of the physical trait. So if, let's say there was a random mutation in the DNA, and that caused the green beetle to turn brown, or meaning the green color for this offspring to turn brown. All right, that will cause evolution as well. And then finally, gene flow. Gene flow is a fancy word for just migration. Migration is any movement of individuals from one place to another. And so when you move yourself and you move your genes with you. So um, obviously, if you're in two different continents, the chances of mating is not going to happen, right? So unless you're a human, you can fly on a plane. But for the most part, the chances of mating doesn't occur. So what ends up happening is these populations start to separate, geographically separate and isolate, and so they start becoming different because their gene pools are different. All right. So those are the four. And of course, the fifth one would be natural selection. So now that leads me to what you're going to be doing here. For this one, you're going to be doing a grasping the mechanisms of evolution. So you have to watch the video. So click here to watch the video. Okay. And you're basically going to write down 5 mechanisms of evolution. You're going to type them on here, right? So the first one, now go in the order that the video goes in. Okay. So you're going to go here, then here, then here, then here, then here. You're going to type them up. Then you're going to insert a emoji representing each process. Now, again, I'm going to explain how you, so of course, the video will help you with this, okay? Because the video does a great job explaining each one. So you're going to insert an image. Now you can upload one from your computer if you saved one. You can search the web. So for example, we know that one's going to be mutation, right? So mutation. All right. So if I want something like this, I guess I could. Okay. This one's cute. I like that one. All right. So obviously it's going to give me a huge one. I'm going to shrink it and put my picture right here. And so this would be mutation. Now I know this one's not going to be mutation because mutation is not the first one on the video. But please don't put mutation here. But I'm just showing you how it would look. So I have my mechanism for change and an emoji or a symbol or something like that. If you want to use actual emojis, do so, please. Okay. All right. So do that for all 5. So you're going to have a picture on top of each fingertip. Okay. And then finally, you're going to write a 2-paragraph summary. 2 or if you could fit it, it should be able to fit in this box here. Okay, so don't go crazy trying to come up with words. But make sure what you're going to do is you're going to explain how the fingers, so how these 5 mechanisms of evolution have to do with the central topic, which are the mechanisms of evolution. So you're going to tell me how these 5 fingers relate to evolution. Okay, and summarize it there. All right, and this is the end of that section of mechanism of evolution. Now we're moving on to origin of life. Origin of life. You're gonna do the certificate. Okay, so please, I do not want to see hand typed names. This is now week 6. I've been telling you guys this from the beginning. So please make sure that it's the original snapshot. You just press Control and that the symbol above the 6, that's the square and 2 vertical lines to save it. Once you save it, so for example, if I just took a snapshot. So now I'm going to save it to my folder. Okay, saved. I'm going to insert image, upload from computer, screenshot. Oh, it's 2:49, guys, in the morning. Crazy. And I'm going to drag it over here to my certificate. Okay, so it's not hard, guys. Your name should be there. So please make sure that you do that. Okay, if you give me a picture and you type in your name, I'm not going to give you any credit for it. So that the certificate is worth 14 points. And then here's a question that has it's a 6-point question. So you have to describe 3 current scientific hypotheses that explain how life occurs. All right. Now we're on human evolution. All right. So human evolution. Here's what you're trying to figure. Here's basically the objective. You need to be able to identify basic trends in hominid evolution from early ancestors 6 million years ago to modern humans, including brain size, jaw size, language, manufacture of tools. So here's a little bit of information about it. Okay, so Homo sapiens, basically, we've been around from 200,000 years ago. Some data now dates it back even 300,000 or more. We're a tool-based culture, right? We have language, we can communicate, and we can come up with technology that can. We are the most dominating force here on in the biosphere, right? So some of the major trends are from obviously our ancestors here have smaller brain size, larger jaws, and what you start seeing is a larger brain size volume and smaller jaws. Okay. Also, another big one is bipedalism, meaning that we walk on all twos. Yes, sorry, we walk on 2 legs. So, yes, I know there's other organisms that can, but we do it um, as a norm. Okay, that's our normal standard way of walking. All right. So what happens? Why is that important? You're going to watch a video and you're going to tell me why you think walking upright was so important for human evolution. It was a major, major milestone. All right. And here, I just wanted to show you guys this picture. This is how we know that how when we're looking at these fossils of these ancient human ancestors, how do we know that that ancestor walked? So when they're saying, okay, well, we found this fossil. Well, usually it's not the whole fossil that we're finding. We're finding fragments of those fossils. So how do they know that they walk? So there are certain key things that they'll look at. For example, the pelvis in blue here. What you'll find is that when you're walking upright, gravity's pushing all your internal organs that are very heavy down into your pelvis, right? So what you'll find is that in the pelvic of someone that's bipedal, it's a bowl shape. It's shaped like a bowl. Whereas something like a gorilla or a chimpanzee or a gorilla that are walk on 4s normally, okay, you'll find that their pelvis is narrow and it's not bowl shaped. It's almost flat. All right. Another thing you'll find is that our the hole to our spinal cord from our cranium to our vertebra here, it's towards the back of our head, whereas one that is like a quadrupedal organism would have um, that hole a little bit more centered. All right. So also they have curved spines. We have kind of S shaped. Okay. So a lot of things. This is how different ways. Also looking at the femur. Okay. For bipedal organisms, the femur's angled in. Okay. So our knees are inwards. So that's just some of the key features that they will look at to see. Okay, when do we start seeing bipedalism occur? All right. All right, so what are you doing here? Very easy, guys. Just watch the video. You're going to click here. This is important. You're going to click on this human evolution timeline. And basically, you have all of the different past human ancestors. Now, we wouldn't call these humans, okay? But we're talking about now. This is the present. This is 8 million years ago, okay? So this is the earliest, what we think are our ancestors, okay? Not that we came from them, but we have common ancestry with them. All right, so basically, if you click on each one of these names, you'll find an ancestor, okay? Obviously, we are Homo sapiens. This is us right now. So this is the current, this is the past, 8 million years ago. So what you'll find is there's a few things that they're showing you here. They're showing you climatic fluctuation. So here's when the earth was warm and cold. So what you'll see is you'll see that there was a lot of climate fluctuations during this time, during our 8 million years of evolution. Okay, so what you'll find is that there is a correlation between climate change and or just like the difference in climate and our evolution. Okay, so it's your job to find out what that is. All right, so when you click here, these are the major milestones here. Okay, so when I ask you to fill out that chart, these two are bipedal, so that's why I only counted one of the bipedalism. So you're going to click on these and you're going to read about them and you're going to discuss them in your chart there. All right. And then this is the climate. This is where you're seeing what's happening here with the climate. Okay, so make sure you go through this. Now, do you need to go through all of these ancestors? No. But you're going to answer here, explain how climate fluctuations impacted hominid evolution. And then here, you're going to write your 5 major milestones, and then why is it important here. Okay. And then finally, you're going to pick one of these hominid species from the timeline, just one. Okay, I don't care whichever one you want, except for Homo sapiens. No Homo sapiens. You could pick Homo erectus. Okay. You could pick Homo florensis, which this is the hobbit population. So did you know that we had hobbits? All right, so pick whichever one you want, and you're going to kind of do a little interview. Obviously, you're not really gonna interview them, but this is what you're gonna create your interview here. Okay. So basically, what you're gonna ask them their scientific name, their nickname, have a picture of them, tell me the dates of existence, diet, or any other relevant facts, location where they lived, meaning where they found their fossils at, map of location. Create 3 questions you would ask that species if you could go back in time and somehow communicate with them. And then if you want extra credit, you can come up with answers to your 3 questions. Okay? And that's it. So that was worth 20 points. All right, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Please make sure that you're turning in your work. You're pressing submit, because if you don't press submit, I'm going to assume that you didn't do it. So please make sure that let's say, you forgot a couple of questions and you're like, oh, I'm gonna submit it later. Okay. And it's already the due date, just go ahead and submit it, and I'll grade it and then return it. And if you need to add later, then that's fine. I'll let you do that. It's better than a 0. All right, guys. I hope all is well. Take care. Okay. Miss you guys. All right. Have a good week, guys.